we interrupt this riveting episode of Glee to bring you startling news about the growing French Immersion epidemic that is spreading across Canada. A new development has taken place. Sources claim that they have found the source of this epidemic, Fredericton, New Brunswick. Star reporters Colleen, Monahan, and Hilary are live on the scene. Over to you, girls.
Thank you for tuning in to this startling news break. We're on scene here. This is Colleen Monahan and Hilary reporting. Now we've come to the center of this epidemic. We're in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this area, Fredericton, New Brunswick is the capital of Canada's only bilingual province. Now, I don't know why anyone would go to the trouble to adopt that title, but in any case, here we are in hopes of getting to the bottom of this wide-spreading epidemic. It's in the smallest of schools, it's in the biggest of universities, and it's worsening by the day.
You're right, Colleen. As you can imagine, thank you, an epidemic of this magnitude has had a profound effect on the people who have come into contact with it. We have tracked down some individuals who have come into contact with French Immersion and will now go live on location to discuss their symptoms, possible causes, and the long-term effects of contact with French Immersion. Over to you, Hilary. Thank you, girls. I'm live on the scene with Emily Reddy, a citizen of Fredericton, New Brunswick, who claims that she began experiencing the earliest symptoms of French immersion when she was only in the first grade. Emily, are you able to comment on what some of those early symptoms were?
Well, first I started thinking in French, which was pretty weird. Then I started speaking in French, and when people spoke to me in French, I knew how to answer.
I see. Very serious. Emily, a number of people have said that they actually experienced some very serious long-term effects from French immersion. Have you experienced some of those yourself?
Oh, definitely. Sometimes when I'm home alone, I talk to myself in French. When people are walking down the streets and they're speaking in French and they don't think I know what they're saying, I understand everything. And I actually know what I'm going to do for a living now because I was paid to go to Quebec for 6 weeks and speak French.
Emily, that is fascinating. A number of people in the Fredericton area have been suggesting that people in New Brunswick hide their wives and hide their kids from French immersion. What is your stance on that?
Well, I think the wives should just put their kids in immersion.
Very interesting. Well, I think that that's all we need to hear. Thank you, Emily, for your time. Colleen, over to you.
Thank you, Hilary. I'm here live on scene in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and I found a source who claims to embrace French immersion. She claims that her symptoms started years ago, and she actually first began experiencing symptoms in a neighboring province, Prince Edward Island. Let's hear what she has to say about her symptoms of French immersion. Leanne?
Well, I got into French immersion. I started, learning more and more French, but on top of that, I started having friends that spoke French, and all of a sudden I realized that signs around me were in French, and I could understand, and I knew what they were saying. Like this, for example. It's everywhere.
Wow, fascinating. Now, some people claim that they actually dream in French. Do you have any proof of this ever happening?
I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I have random portions of my dream in French and go back to English, but I do at times dream in French. It's crazy.
Well, there we have it, folks. A source who claims to be embracing the symptoms of French immersion. Now, let's see what else we can find. We're off to some schools to see what the students have to say.
We love French and so will you!
Yay!
Yay! Yay!
French Immersion rocks!
The Francais est fun! Francais est super! Woo! Yeah! We win!
And now, a shocking new development. An authentic source has just forwarded footage of students as they experience these severe symptoms of French immersion. Now, we need to warn viewers that some of this footage will be extremely hard to watch. Viewer discretion is advised.
The students depicted in this footage display the particular behaviors typical of French immersion: singing, dancing, and often making use of words that many of us don't understand.
Petit cochon, sont dans la classe de français. Oh, j'aime les verbes. Moi aussi, dit madame. J'aime manger, sauter, danser, écrire.
I heard Justin Bieber learned how to speak French, so I want to do it too.
We love French class, baby. We love French class, baby.
As you can see, the discoveries we're making here are quite shocking. We've decided to investigate further by going straight to the source and talking to the experts, French immersion students who claim to be embracing the virtues of this new and mysterious program.
It was like my brain was slowly exploding with knowledge.
Sometimes I speak French at home by accident.
In grade 4, I was kind of like, I don't really think I would really like French. But once I got into grade 5, I really loved grade 5 and the French and everything that we did in French. It's so fun, and I'm going to do it again next year.
C'est plus excitant. You get to watch French TV. C'est amusant. I think everywhere in the world should have French immersion because you can have way better education, you can get better jobs. Yeah.
I think they should have French because it's interesting to learn a second language and it's very useful in life. If you're a big traveler, you would know how to speak French in other countries.
We play games, and one is mixing up words. Like we'll have regular sentences, and then they'll just get changed as we go along. It's really funny.
Okay, can you give me an example of one of those sentences?
Dustin put une jupe et un chapeau rose.
And what does that mean?
It means Dustin is wearing a dress with a pink hat.
In the future, I want to go on like trips, and I'll know I have to speak French. So that's another reason why I want to go in French immersion.
French is awesome. You can be bilingual, and you can do secret languages with your friends, that your parents don't know. The teachers are awesome.
There's no point in being scared. You'll always have help.
You get better careers as you go on. You don't need to have textbooks in your locker. I find it a lot easier than English. It's really fun. You can watch more movies. You have a lot of more hands-on work, which is more fun to do with activities.
You're never left sitting alone. You always have something to do.
You get a lot of friends in French immersion. You get to go to more places. You get to know.
One of my favorite activities that we did in French was singing different French songs with the smartboard and PowerPoints. And it's fun because everyone sings it and it's in French.
As we continue to dig deeper and deeper into our investigation, the virtues of French immersion are becoming clearer. These grade 8 and grade 9 students make perhaps the most compelling case for French immersion so far, using only 2 tools to demonstrate their point: music and their love of the French language.
Come on, come.
Hi boys and girls, this is Mr. Lee, and I just want to encourage you that you should go to French Immersion because it's a great place to get an experience and it's a wonderful place to be.
Don't fear French immersion.
Don't fear French immersion.
Don't fear French immersion.
My friend, don't fear French immersion.
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 Wow, unbelievable. Who would have thought that French immersion would have so many wonderful side effects?
It's quite fascinating, really, but we heard it straight from the source, the students themselves. How can we ever argue with that?
We really can't. French immersion is a wonderful thing. They certainly have me convinced.
Me too. It's nothing to be afraid of, that's for sure.
It really isn't. I think the kids summed it up best. Don't fear French immersion.
With that, we conclude our broadcast. As you can see, French Immersion is an exciting and worthwhile program. We look forward to seeing it continue to spread across Canada. For Stu for Education News, I'm Colleen Monahan.
And I'm Hilary Reddy.
Wow, who would have guessed? As it turns out, the effects of French immersion are not dangerous after all. As our star reporters discovered, catching the French immersion bug is actually a good thing. So get out there and try French immersion for yourself. Signing off, this is Elena with Education News.